Now today we are going to start with the topic that is resource and development. Now as we hear resource, we will be thinking about that what resource actually is. So what is resource? So resource is anything which is present in the environment, which is used to satisfy our needs and our desires, which is economically feasible, culturally acceptable, and technologically accessible. That is known as resource. Now, what do we mean by technologically accessible? Now, if we think of developing anything and it is not tech means, see, sometimes we dream of something and it is not necessary that that dream would be fulfilling. Okay, as it is technologically not accessible. So those kind of things which are not accessible, which are not technologically accessible, is not considered as resource, and which is technologically accessible, that is considered as resources. Then comes economically feasible. What does economically feasible means? So economically feasible means that something which is affordable and something which can be used by a normal human being in their day-to-day life, that is known as economically feasible. And culturally acceptable means in our culture that particular thing need to be accepted by each and every person, that is known as culturally acceptable. Yeah. So resource is anything which is technologically accessible and economically feasible and culturally acceptable, which comes to satisfy our needs, that is known as resources. Okay, now then comes classification of resources. Now resources are classified into numerous groups. That is on the basis of origin, that is classified on the basis of origin, on the basis of their exhaustibility, on the basis of their ownership, and on the basis of the status of development. Yeah. So first, that is origin. Now we can consider living and non-living things, correct? So anything which is living, anything which has life in it, that is known as biotic resource, and anything which does not have life in it, that is known as abiotic resource. Now for example, let's take human is a biotic resource, and plants, animals, those all things are biotic resources. Whereas if we take minerals, if we take any type of mineral, or if we take any type of means any thing which is not, let's take wood, let's take minerals, those things are known as abiotic resources, as they are not living but they are still in our use. They are technologically accessible, economically feasible, culturally acceptable. Then comes on the basis of exhaustibility. Now on the basis of exhaustibility, the two kinds, that is renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Okay, now if we take renewable resources, they can be renewed or replenished. They take very short time to get renewed. Okay, and they can be used as much times as they want. Okay, and non-renewable resources, they cannot be renewed by themselves, and if they can renew, then they would take a long period of time to get renewed. So this is the basic difference between renewable and non-renewable resources. Now if we consider some examples, then renewable resources are, we can say, the things which can be renewed. Okay, so if we take water, okay, so that water is a non-renewable resources, as it would take a lot of more time to get renewed. Okay, and if we take water can get recycled, and then from dirty water it can be converted, so it can be renewed. And if we take natural gas, petrol, diesel, those things cannot be renewed or replenished very easily, so that is known as non-renewable resources. Then comes on the basis of ownership. Now if I take one example, if I consider my car, so I would say that car is mine. I won't tell that car is for the society. Okay, and if we say a public car or a bus, then we can say that bus belongs to the city. Okay, so yeah, that is the basic difference of what ownership does mean. Okay, so the four kinds of ownership is individual. Now if we say individual ownership, so I took an example of my car. So like car, many books, or we can say house, we can say like a lot more things, bicycle, and lot more things, right? So individual means the thing which is owned by only one person, that is known as individual ownership. Then community ownership. Now if we consider a garden, now that garden must be owned by a particular community. Okay, the community which built it, so that is known as the community ownership. Okay, then comes national ownership. Now if we consider a railway, or if we consider any monument, so that is owned by the whole country, and that's why it is known as the national ownership to resource. Okay, then comes international ownership. Now if we consider oceans are very huge, so some kilometers from the boundary of that particular country, that part of the ocean is said to be of that country, but the rest of the part of the ocean is owned by international bound. It is considered in for the world. Okay, so oceans are owned internationally, like United Nations owns the oceans. Okay, then comes status of development. Now how is the resources considered on the basis of, classified on the basis of status of development? So what does development mean over here? That is how much that particular resource had been came into the use, and that use is making any difference in the environment. So if we consider potential resource, then we can say that that resource have potential, but it is not yet been spread it all over the area. Okay, so if we consider the areas of Rajasthan and Gujarat, it has a lot more solar energy or sun energy, we can say, present, but we are not using it efficiently, so that is known as the potential resource. Then comes developed resource. Now water means H2O. Now that water is a very essential means, and we are using it, but we are not using it that efficiently. Okay, so it is not get developed. So yeah, if H2 and O is being divided, we can use those two things differently, and it would make a huge difference in our environment. So yeah, that is known as developed resource. Then comes reservoirs. Now the resources which are being stored in a particular thing, and that resource is not being used again, that is known as the reserved resource. So resources are those things which needed to be conserved, as they are the basis of our living. So yeah, this was all about resource and development, and there is many more things of resource and development. This was part 1 of resource and development. Let's we will meet in part 2 of resource and development. So I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Also comment down if there are any suggestions. Share this video as much as possible. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you can get my latest updates. Thank you.